The cenotaph in Whitehall remains the definitive symbol of the empty tomb. For the House of Windsor, however, a vacuum is a structural impossibility. The institution exists in a state of perpetual presence. In the spring of 2026, the optics of sovereign power shifted with calculated precision. King Charles, facing the inherent fragility of the human frame, delegated the most solemn functions of the state to the Princess of Wales. This represents the fundamental tension of the British monarchy. A man may falter, but the office remains immutable. Personal health is a private circumstance. The royal function is a public permanence. At the cenotaph, Catherine did not merely participate in a ceremony. She acted as the living surrogate for a monarch whose physical absence required a symbolic replacement. While the world commemorates the Gallipoli landings of 1915, the historian observes a more contemporary process. This is the mechanism of continuity, operating in its most disciplined form. Visibility serves as the primary currency of the crown. If the institution is not perceived to be active, it risks fading from the national consciousness. The Anzac legacy celebrates the ultimate sacrifice for freedom. For the modern Windsor, the sacrifice is the absolute dissolution of the self into the machinery of state. The princess must maintain an unwavering composure as the weight of the king's absence settles upon her shoulders. The crown accepts nothing less than the total subordination of the individual. Duty is not a voluntary act. It is a permanent state of being. April 25th, 2026. Whitehall is enveloped in the profound silence of Anzac Day. The air surrounding the cenotaph carries more than the echoes of the Gallipoli landings. It carries the weight of a silent, structural transition. King Charles remains within a precautionary phase of treatment. In the lexicon of the court, this is the diplomatic euphemism for the sovereign's necessary withdrawal from the public gaze. For the Princess of Wales, the occasion marks a pivotal intersection of the personal and the political. Her first full year in clinical remission is not framed as a private victory. It is the restoration of a vital asset to the machinery of state, but of aesthetic armor for a definitive restoration. The inclusion of the Diana sapphire cabochons served as a semiotic anchor. It was a calculated invocation of historical lineage to stabilize the contemporary moment. The wreath, bearing a note signed by both the prince and princess, signals a shared stewardship. While the king focuses on the preservation of the physical frame, the next generation assumes the weight of the public persona. The subsequent service at Westminster Abbey codified this shift. The monarchy does not halt for human frailty. It evolves through disciplined visibility. The individual yields, ensuring the crown endures. The protocol governing the cenotaph is an ossified relic of the British constitutional framework. Historically, the king's prerogative in this space is exercised exclusively by the sovereign or the direct male heir. The 2026 Anzac service dismantled this precedent. When the Princess of Wales approached the monument, she did not step forward as a mere consort. She acted as a formal proxy. This represents a calculated expansion of her constitutional orbit that effectively redrew the maps of royal influence. Catherine and William. In the meticulously curated lexicon of the court, the order of names is never a matter of chance. It is a declaration. By placing the princess's name before that of the future king, the institution signaled a strategic realignment of power. This was a semiotic disruption designed to stabilize the crown's image during the sovereign's physical withdrawal. While the prince remains the biological link to the succession, Catherine has emerged as the functional vessel of the king's authority. Monarchy has identified its most resilient asset. It has placed her at the vanguard of the state, ensuring that even when the king is absent, the presence of the crown remains absolute. The hierarchy has been recalibrated. The mechanism of continuity is secure. History functions as a recursive loop. The institution does not innovate. It remembers. What we observe today is a refined iteration of a survival mechanism perfected through a century of constitutional tremors. In 1951, the architecture of the state faced a profound instability. King George VI was failing, his vitality hollowed out by terminal illness. The solution was the strategic deployment of the then Princess Elizabeth. Her youth served as a visual distraction. She acted as a radiant surrogate, masking the physical decline of the sovereign. The court utilized her image to bridge the gap between a fading reign and an impending succession. This script was drafted decades earlier. During the decline of George V, Queen Mary orchestrated what historians define as a shadow regency. She maintained the imperial brand with clinical efficiency. She ensured the crown remained visible, while the king retreated into the shadows of illness. The palace now invokes this proven psychological anesthesia. The Princess of Wales provides the essential aesthetic of health. Her visibility acts as a biological shield for the institution. By projecting a resilient successor, the court diverts the public gaze from the fragility of the present toward the stability of the future. This is the functional utility of the princess. She provides the continuity that the biology of the monarch can no longer guarantee. The individual withers. The perception of power remains unblemished. The mechanism of the state is indifferent to the person. It demands only the preservation of the image. The crown demands a visual testament of vitality that transcends the limitations of the flesh. For the Princess of Wales, the 2026 Anzac commemorations represented a performance of health, bordering on the ascetic. Behind the meticulous composure lies the physiological tax of recovery. Every hour of public visibility is a transaction, purchased with days of calculated withdrawal. In this theater of state, exhaustion is a luxury the institution cannot afford. The individual is required to project invincibility, even when the human frame is at its most fragile. This is the silent pact of the Windsor lineage. The public image must remain unblemished, regardless of the private reality. Catherine now occupies a space of functional primacy. She must project a leadership that stabilizes the monarchy, without eclipsing the traditional hierarchy of the heir. It is a delicate, strategic calibration. The institution requires her to be dominant enough to sustain the crown's legitimacy, yet integrated enough to avoid becoming a competing center of gravity against the future William V. The princess does not merely support the throne. She currently sustains its public validity. The individual is subsumed by the office to ensure the mechanism of state remains undisturbed. In the cold logic of the institution, the person is secondary. The continuity of the image is everything. April 2026 marks the arrival of the functional regency. While the Regency Act remains a dormant legal instrument, the operational reality of the British state has undergone a profound realignment. The Prince and Princess of Wales have transitioned from mere representatives to the primary executors of the royal prerogative for the Commonwealth, particularly Australia and New Zealand. This shift occurs during a period of acute constitutional fragility. In Canberra and Wellington, the Princess of Wales serves as the essential strategic constant. She projects the soft power necessary to preserve the imperial bond where traditional political levers often fail. The internal architecture of the House of Windsor is now permanently recalibrated. King Charles remains the source of sovereign authority, but the princess has become its primary conductor. This bifurcated system allows the crown to maintain its sacred mystery and seclusion, while projecting a disciplined, modern vitality through its successor. This transformation will dictate the trajectory of the monarchy, for the next half-century.
The Crown has secured its future by acknowledging the limitations of the present.
The mortal yields. The immortal persists. The preservation of the monarchy depends on an informed understanding of these historical shifts. Add your analysis of this constitutional evolution to the comments and subscribe to remain part of this ongoing historical record.